Welcome to yet another episode of Hack Off, the show where we talk about cybersecurity, data privacy, and everything else to do with the internet. So today we've got an interesting company with us, FutureX. They're a global cybersecurity hardware firm, and they've just made their entry into India in the last few months. So we're talking to Ganesh, Karri, and Cason. How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful today. How are you?
Good.
You're doing
Great. Thanks for having you. Thanks for coming on, you guys. So I think the first question, this is open for both of you. I don't know which one of you is more equipped to answer this, but why did you decide to come to India last year? What was the appeal of joining the Indian market?
That's a really good question. I can address that one. And so FutureX has been in India for a very long time now. As a company, we're a 35-year-old brand, so we've been in the hardened security market for a number of decades at this point. And so we first entered India in terms of establishing a customer presence a long time ago. However, our decision to open a physical office in India in early mid-2017 was based on just the dramatic amount of growth we're seeing within the Indian marketplace, both in terms of our own customer base, but overall, wider than that even, the expanding focus on hardened security and taking cybersecurity to a greater degree than it has been before. We're seeing tremendous adoption of this type of technology. And being a very critically important market on the world stage, India made most sense for us to target as far as opening our next physical presence.
absolutely. Just to add to Adam, so this has been very right time to be physically present in India. So the amount of opportunities are tremendous, and right now so many changes are happening, and in terms of digitization, cashless society, and use of the common number, Aadhaar, and so many things, and the data privacy and data security has been paramount from even at the very top level in terms of political level and bureaucracy. Everyone is talking for data security, and we have been seeing.
So I'm glad you brought up that point about data privacy and data security. So as a global company, I mean, you're based in America, you've got offices in Europe, now in India. How do you handle different data privacy laws? I mean, Europe just passed some pretty strict laws. India's got a pretty strong feeling of we want to keep our data in our country. So how do you handle these different laws across the planet?
So data privacy legislation is becoming more and more prevalent throughout the world. It's interesting you mentioned the UK and Europe in general. We're seeing with their general data protection regulation, or GDPR, that's a significant one in that part of the world. We know India has robust data security legislation right now, and we're seeing a lot of that take shape throughout the world as a whole. What we've seen with that is with the really anytime privacy and data retention laws come into effect, you're going to see a growth in the volume and the type of data that needs to be stored, and you typically see significantly increased penalties for data breaches as well. And so from our standpoint, as a manufacturer of hardened security technology, those two things are driving some tremendous growth in the need for strong, compliant, scalable, and most importantly, easy to implement cryptographic solutions. And so quite often we're seeing organizations look to on-premises hardware where they can keep it within the bounds of their own organization, but also within the bounds of their own country as far as data residency goes. And that really is important when it comes to the cloud and what we're doing on that side of things.
So, I mean, that's a good point you bring up. So, for example, in India alone, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they're all opening up data retention centers in India to store Indian clients' data from their cloud services. So is that something that FutureX is looking to do?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have, to provide a little bit of background about FutureX. FutureX manufactures hardware-based data security servers. So all of our hardware security modules, key management servers, trusted identity platforms, those are all designed, developed, and manufactured by us. And so traditionally, historically speaking, we provided physical devices that customers implement in their own data centers at their own organizations. But a few years ago, we launched VirtueCrypt, which is a sister company to FutureX and offers cloud-based security solutions. And so with that, one of the items we knew we would need to handle is data residency. And so for us, in terms of data center expansion, India is one of, if not our most important priority as far as global data centers. Right now we've got data centers in the US, we've got data centers in Europe, and looking later this year to India as one of our next targets is something we're doing.
Okay. So, how do you see the data security and the data privacy situation in India? Do you think the laws are strong enough? Do you think, compared to Europe and America, it's weak? I mean, what's your views on the entire system in India? And do you think laws are going to change in India in the upcoming years? I mean, these are important questions for your company, right?
I think I take that question. So, we have data security laws and privacy laws, but the implementation is not that strong that everyone of us agree. But as the digitization is increasing and the use of online services is increasing, the requirement of data security and the privacy of the personal privacy of the sensitive information or the personal information, the data is very, very significant, and it is gaining promptness. If you see the recent the cases and various courts and the outcome that are coming day in and day out, so the significance is paramount, and the implementation for the data privacy will be one of the significant things in India. I think that those changes we'll see very soon, very soon. And we always keep an eye on that, because the data security is our business, and we constantly look at that. And this is going to be a great opportunity for us.
Okay. Now, there's a obvious question here for us, hardware cybersecurity company, is the next wave of devices coming through, or the Internet of Things devices. So it's basically when you can connect your devices across your home and your business. So how do you plan on, protecting that kind of data? I mean, if you've got some data on a piece of hardware that you sell to a business, and that hardware interacts with a person's personal hardware, how do you protect the data from being taken out from someone else, some other avenue like that?
So the Internet of Things and companies and manufacturers of those devices are an absolutely key market to FutureX, and that's an industry we've been very comfortable with for a very, very long time now. And you look at the number of connected devices out there now, it's growing exponentially by the year. Everybody's got their phones, their tablets, their laptops, their connected vehicles, their home automation devices. Just the number of devices that make up the IoT is increasing dramatically. And you're absolutely right that with that, the volume of data to be protected is growing significantly. But one other thing is that it's also enabling some very sophisticated, very new attack vectors that we need to guard against. And so where we come into play with that is working directly with the manufacturers to help them secure the root of trust and provide that foundational security at the manufacturing layer. So we're working with organizations worldwide, including some of the very largest manufacturers in the world, producing hundreds of millions of devices per year, to do things like digitally sign their devices at the point of manufacture, to digitally sign firmware updates that are sent down to them, doing things that allow remote distribution of cryptographic keys, of firmware updates, content monetization. Really, what it's doing is securing communication between the device and the infrastructure, between devices and other devices, and between IoT devices and their operators, the actual end users. So you ensure data confidentiality, you ensure data integrity as it goes between devices, and then you also ensure authenticity, knowing that yes, it is a correct, accurate, non-counterfeited, non-interrupted message, but also that the user is the authenticated user and authorized to do that as well.
All right, so that sounds like you guys have got a grip on how exactly to not just use IoT, but secure IoT. But I've got to ask you this. I mean, this is the big buzzword going around the planet right now. Do you guys have any plans with blockchain?
Blockchain's a great one, and we see some significant business impacts to organizations around the world. Not only with the cryptocurrency side of things, but distributed ledger, possibly even more than that. And the role that's going to play in modern business is significant. But just like with everything else, you have to have that security-based foundation there. And so establishing the root of trust using strong cryptography is absolutely vital to that. And so from our standpoint, the role we play right now for securing the blockchain would typically be around the area of using hardware security modules to store the private keys that are used to sign all blockchain activities.
Okay.
That way, you provide that foundational trust element.
Okay. All right. So that's an interesting take on it. I mean, you're trying to help people secure the outer edges of the blockchain instead of just going for the technology itself. You're trying to look for the weak points and solve those things.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, it's been fascinating talking to both of you about FutureX and the plans for your company. And I can't wait to see if you guys actually can pull out something out of the hat for India.
No, absolutely. And we appreciate your time today. India is an incredibly important market to us and one that we see and anticipate tremendous growth in over the coming years.
Thanks a lot for joining me, gentlemen.
Thank you, Taras. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.